Okay, so basically, I'm here to discuss the issue of not showing your reflective ceiling plan. Um, this is kind of like the sixth time I'm talking about it because I had issues with my audio. So, my issue in the past was I was never able to see my reflective ceiling plan. And what I'm going to do is just show how you can do it. And if you're doing these mistakes, just make sure you're checking your floors um, of each level. Okay, so here's a property that I'm doing. Um, and these are all ceilings that I've installed. I've only put them on the first and second floor, didn't put them on the third floor yet. So, one way to actually make sure it's showing up on my third floor is to build a ceiling on my third floor to make sure it would show up. And you would want to like start from scratch to make sure your ceiling is built, because without a built ceiling, your ceiling plan on the left side of a project browser just isn't going to show up. So once you build the ceiling, it will show up and it will pop up down here saying level 3. Right now, I don't have a level 3. I have 3 floors. I don't have a level 3. And it will show up once I build my ceiling. Level 3 tagging is more like tagging ceiling heights and kind of leaving notes for architects to let them know what the height of each ceiling or electrical wiring boxes or whatever should be. So we're not going to worry about tagging. Um, the issue I have had in the past was no, was I couldn't see my ceiling plan. So what I would do is I would copy this entire project and then start a new project. So I'd go to File, New, here, File, New Project, and I just copy the whole thing and just create and paste it into a new project. And if you have a site plan like this, it can be very tedious to do that. So some other things I wanted to share were um, some other types of information that I did get online, and I find that going to Autodesk communities page is helpful. You might want to check your ceiling view range and see if your top cut plane, your top plane and your bottom plane, and the depth is long and the depth is wide enough, or sorry, deep enough to cut through those ceiling. For ceiling view range, you're looking from the eye upwards. So the cut plane is basically where you should kind of be maximizing your starting point of where you want to see your ceiling plan. And how you can do this is you can go to your properties page. So you just start with a level. Let's say we start at level 2. You go to the left side and you go to view range and edit, and you can kind of play with the type of ranges. I have read on a post on Autodesk that if you put it on unlimited, it kind of doesn't show. So you want to keep it above, like just at just at the top of that particular ceiling. You don't want to go like way up here, way above the roof and all that. That was another thread that I read. Not sure if it's true. Might want to play around with it, like I was saying. And this was a link that I clicked in the Autodesk link here. And it's saying 33 steps to find stuff. So if you go down the list, there's so many different things that you should be checking to see why you're not kind of seeing your view range of your ceiling plan. There's also many different types of videos online on YouTube. This is another article. Um, so it does give a little bit of tutorials on how to kind of know understand the view range thing, which I was telling you about on the left side of your panel. And here are some videos on how you can kind of change the cut height of your
in front of you, and I'm going to go to the door in that
these are
cut
very
plane.
helpful videos.
And then from here, what I need to do is I need to hide the door swing and the thickness of the cut is. So you do the shortcut VV. So I'm literally out of all my commands hitting escape. And then I press the keyboard VV. And with VV pressed, I'm going to go down to doors and expand that. And you'll see I've unchecked panel and swing. And I want you to see what happens when I apply that back on. So this is what's showing by
These
default.
are actually good videos. I have seen other videos that explain why, ceiling plans aren't being shown. There is another video I found by this guy. It was pretty good. He goes through all the troubleshooting.
When it comes to working in REVIT, one of
need to go through in REVIT.
that out. Then we have the reveal hidden element. Actually customize the detail level. So for this is the view range, and I'm not going to go too much into this just because it's a very complicated topic, and I already have a video on this topic. So I'm just
so he has a video on view range. So I'm sure he does. He's just such a smart guy. And I believe he's an architect. I've signed up for one of his courses. Here's the view range settings. He was just talking about.
Now I'm just going to click here on Edit to open up the view range dialog.
Do note that he may be working in millimeters or centimeters, but in the US they work primarily in feet and inches, so you just have to be aware of converting all these numbers.
From the top, as you can see, this is that 10.
So what I would do for you is put these in the link to the video that I'm doing today, and also put links on Reddit pages that I've researched on view range. Apparently, view range was, view range is kind of like a lot of problems. Apparently, like this guy is saying, view range was created by someone who has never worked with construction documents in their life. They're so far entrenched, it's too far gone now. I wanted to stress one thing, and I just recall this when I was in my Revit class, and I've done Revit 1, 2, and 3, and they're pretty advanced classes in Revit. My professor was not able, in some instances, to actually show the reflected ceiling plans, and he has been teaching Revit for like 20 years, or something like that. I think it was 15 or 20 years, and he's like super experienced with Revit. He can build anything, and even he couldn't fix certain things, even with VG and VV and all those troubleshooting things. I do have a document on troubleshooting, and if you want me to send you some information on this document, just send me a message in the video that I'm posting, and I'll do my best to send you a document about that troubleshooting stuff about Revit from my classes. The class that I went to is an accredited CITA course, so we don't play games here. We're really serious about what we do in Revit.
Centimeters.
If you have any other questions, or you want to comment, or you think that this video isn't helpful or whatever, just send me a message or a comment on the video, because we're all learning, and there's just so many different types of videos out there, and so much different types of information out there that it's helpful to get everybody's perspective. So it would be great to kind of know your perspective as well, and see how basically I could contribute to the interior design community or interior architecture community in some way. I'm sure there are BIM experts that are like talking about this stuff all the time, like unless you're lucky enough to meet expert, then you kind of have to do deep dives in yourself. Um, and okay, so one of them is you got to choose plan view. The plan view thing, I know that it showed up for me after I adjusted my plan views as well. Um, but all these screens that I'm showing do help, even though they might seem like very little information. Um, it's just a little effort, a little bit more effort that you have to go through to kind of find out what the problem is what I'm saying. So um, there's a lot of information out there in the world, um, and you can find what you're looking for and all of that. So okay, looks like there's this guy who calls himself the BIM Jedi. Underlay objects not showing up. Yeah, that's not the one. Underlay. So he's saying that the cut planes are kind of off. I've done that before. I've tried to make sure the cut planes were, at heights that I could see from the bottom up or top down. Yeah, so even he's saying for reflected for RCPs, the cut plane of the underlay is set to the selected underlay level and looks up to the level above the selected underlay's level. So some guy just said, could be anything. Check your phasing, view range work sets. Yes, it may, if you have a model in level 3 and you're at level 1, it may show up in the view level 1. So I can link all this information for you, and I hope this was helpful. And please comment and try to support my channel. I'm trying to build more in here as I go through Revit and learn more about Revit. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day on Revit. Bye.